is Julie, and all throughout this month I'm going to be bringing you tips on how to prepare your child for Montessori toddler community, Montessori preschool, or any type of preschool or childcare. These are things that will help your child feel more confident their first day of school, and are also things your child's teacher will really appreciate you working on a little bit before their first day of school. Today, I'd like to talk to you about helping your child learn some boundaries. I've got another video about protecting their own boundaries, but today I want to talk to you about teaching your child to respect other people's boundaries. It is really easy, especially if it's your first child, to let your child treat you in a way that you definitely don't want them treating their friends. And there's two specific things that toddlers can get in the habit of doing with their parents that we don't really want them to do on their first day of preschool or any time after that. And one is hitting. So especially a young toddler, they do the motion of hitting early on, and that's mainly because they don't have fully coordinated movement yet, and it has nothing to do at all with violence. And even after that period, it doesn't really have anything to do with violence, and yet still we don't want our children in the habit of hitting people. So if they're in the habit of, when they're frustrated, hitting you, making sure that you are introducing this concept that you don't allow people to touch you that way, including your own child. Because I trust you don't want your child to be in the habit of dealing with frustration or anger by hitting their friends. It's not really fair for the child to have it first introduced at school that hitting is not okay. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can provide a visual barrier when they hit you and say, "No, thank you." Or you could say, "I don't let people hit me," or "That's my body, I don't like being touched that way." Or "Stop, I don't like it when people hit me." And when you do this, the tone should be clear, decisive, and firm, but not an escalated voice or a mean voice. And these strategies send the message to your child that people don't like to be hit. Again, it's so easy to not make a big deal when our young children hit at us when they're frustrated or mad, but we do need to teach them our boundaries. And at school, the teachers and the students teach each other our boundaries. It just gives your child a little head start, if you haven't started yet, that this is not acceptable. And just on a side note, if you have a child that hits a lot when they're frustrated, it doesn't mean they're going to be a more violent person. It just means they express themselves physically more, and it's our job to teach them boundaries and in what ways they can express themselves physically. Another important skill that we work on certainly at school is teaching the child that they cannot grab things away. And this is so easy to let our child grab things, right? Because again, they started when they were little and it was kind of cute. Understand that they don't have a lot of language to ask for things. Yet when they're going into community with other children and with adults, we want them to understand that the expectation will be they can't just go over and grab something because they want it. And if the first time they learn this at school, it can be a little shocking. Ideally, the teachers would like to see that that's not a brand new concept, that they can't just grab things from people. A way to do that, especially if they don't have language, is just to teach them to put their hand out and to ask, and to sometimes say no to them. Because when they get into a preschool or childcare environment, sometimes the answer will be no, I'm still using it. So if you have gotten into the habit of letting your child take things out of your hands or take things out of an older sibling's hands, it's a good idea to, well in advance of school, to begin to teach them that actually they need to ask. And if they don't have a lot of language, then you can teach them to sign for please or to put their hand out and say please. And their future classmates will really appreciate that. All right, learning to respect other people's boundaries is a very important social emotional skill that, of course, your teachers will be working on, I trust, with your child, but it's nice to give them a head start so that they're more comfortable with that concept when they fit. Thanks for watching. I'll be uploading a video every weekday in August. Check out the topic schedule for each day of the week in the description.